So today's workshop is mainly based on these two topics, understanding music and active listening. I chose this because of the data that I collected about 55 plus a number of people who responded, well, 55 or so, and most of them showed interest in these two topics. There are a bunch of other folks who also showed interest in singing, karaoke, other technology questions, rhythm, pitching, many other topics. But a common point was everybody likes to understand music and everybody likes to know how to actively listen to music. So I decided to devote these two. Another reason to choose this, in fact, that was one of the reason I had it in the questionnaire itself, was without these two topics that you understand well, it is really tough to really do a deeper dive into Bollywood music, or for that matter, any music actually. So I had this one in my mind anyway, but thanks for choosing that. So let's dive deep on these two aspects of music. The first thing that I will talk about is understanding of music. And this, for few people, might sound a little bit philosophical, historical, whatever. But I thought I'll spend really small amount of time in grounding you to saying what are you really talking about when you talk about music, right? Music is surrounded to all of us since our birth, literally, and that's why I feel sometimes that we take it granted because it's all around us, like an air or water. But a understanding of few basic concepts will help you. So we'll go into the brief introduction of music. Then we'll go into introduction of Bollywood music, how it became Bollywood and all that. Then we'll understand why Bollywood has its own class and its rules. We'll quickly look into how Bollywood music evolved to what it is today. And then we'll dive into active listening, how to listen to any piece of music, how to understand what you're really listening, how do you go little deep into the listening part of it, and with few examples. So that's my today's agenda. And so these are the two main topics. So all of your questions, please shoot into chat. Varsha is collecting those. I have asked her to collect common 3 to 5 questions, which I will try to understand at the end. All other questions I'll try to send you by email, some sort of summary and what people asked and all that. Okay, so let's go into the music. So this is a very philosophical. What is music actually, right? Everybody knows it, everybody enjoys it, but very rarely we ask this question: what is music actually? So to me, music is creating a structural piece with any sound actually. It doesn't matter what sound it is. If it pleases at the end to your ears, it is music. And in rare cases, music is unpleasant also. When anger is produced to music, it makes you restless, and feel angry also at sometimes. So to that is also to me a piece of a music. So anything that you are able to use and create a piece of music is music. And you are seeing my screen. So I have two examples quickly here. One is, this is made up piece from I think from peach. It's an African thing, and it's called thumb piano. They have attached a little thing here, metal pieces to a different length, and there's a sound hole here like a guitar. But when you pluck, it can create musical sound. For example, like you are able to hear it, right? Something like that. So this music may be a little bit nonsensical right now because it's out of tune also. But my point is, this is able to create music. You can be creative and create music out of anything. Look at this, for example. What is this? It's a medication bottle, the orange medication bottle, right? What is inside here? I put actually moong dal into a medication box. And how do I use it? As a shaker. And I can create music like that. So you can be creative, just like the ancient people were creative, using any natural sounds to create music. The earlier music was created using wood and bamboos sticking, hitting on each other as rhythmic instruments, or voice or nature sounds to create music. Basically, putting holes into the bamboo, we created bansuri, right? So you can actually trace some of the current musical instruments to the old ones, like taking a wood log, making it hollow, putting the animal skin, there is your dhol, right? So it can be traced to all that ancient history that we know. So evolution of modern music came because of we started putting rules around it, theories around it. Then different cultures had different rules. Indian cultures have different rules around it, what we call rag and a tal. We have a different set of rules around it. And Western is based on mainly harmonies and melodies and the whole structure around it and scales around it. So they have different rules, we have different rules, but at the end, it is still the same musical notes which goes around it. So there are two categories that I normally talk about. One is the Indian music and Western music. Just like I explained, both have different set of rules, and within the set of rules, we try to become creative. Okay. Nowadays, music is mixing, at least in Indian terminology, it is mixing with a lot of Western things. So it is really hard for figuring out how it is really created, right? So basic, going back to the melodic part of music, we just saw some rhythm instrument, like whatever I made of it. And there are other rhythmic instruments also, but music is mainly, when we say music, it is talk about musical notes, which are just 12 notes. The Everyone knows the sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, the main 7 notes, and the 5 sharp and flat notes, the komal or tivra sur, or what we call, are in between those. So total, we only have 12 notes. So why does the keyboard, if you know a keyboard, right, musical keyboard, why does it show so many notes? There are my couple of friends here who understand keyboard, and one of my friend who plays really well, he's also today, he will be able to answer it very quickly. But if you have you thought about it, why a keyboard shows so many notes if there are only 12 notes? So the answer to that is what is called pitch. And I have right now keyboard you know made on here with my software. So I'll play for a few notes basically. If you can hear, then that's fine. Okay, so let me turn it on. So I'll go back to presentation meanwhile it is turning on. So the difference is because of a pitch. So typical notes are sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, but after the ni, it goes the sa, which is a higher octave, what we call, and if you go down, it is a lower octave of the sa ni da pa ma ga re sa, and that's what makes the whole keyboard sound lower or higher. So then how come still there is infinite possibility of music? Let's say you have 12 notes and 4 pitches. Your keyboard has 66 or 88 notes and all that, depending on how big or small it is. But still, how have you wondered that why there are infinite possibilities of music? But the answer to that simple answer is actually time. It's not the musical notes that makes it possible to have infinite music available to us. And the reason behind that is time creates the infinite possibilities out of 12 notes and different pitches, right? So a time that is spent on a particular note versus the other note will create infinite possibilities, and time has no limit, right? You can play one note of first sa for like 5 seconds, second for only microsecond, third can be stretched to like 10 seconds, and then you just start moving around the time. There is no limit how much music you can really create out of it. So I'll quickly check whether my this thing will cooperate me again, and I'll give you a quick demo of what that can make. Okay. Okay, can you hear my keyboard now? Okay, so I'm playing only 3 notes, and I'll give you later on a link with Maestro Ilayaraja has created an infinite melody with these 3 notes. But I'm going to play 3 notes, and you'll see only sa, re, and ga, and I'm playing impromptu, but see what happens with that. Very short example, but I just played Sarega in two different octaves with a random order and random timing, literally. There is nothing great I played. I know this is impromptu, it's not decided what I would play. And my keyboard friend will agree to it, that you can literally play, endlessly. So the time is how much I stay on one note. I can do this as a melody, or I'm still playing Sarega, okay? I'm not even gone to Ma or Pa. You can do endless things with just this. So music is basically possible because of variation of time. A note is played or sung at a different pitch. You can play at this pitch, this pitch, this pitch, here, or up to here. It's still sa. All the notes I played right now are only sa. Sa. So how much time you put on the each note at whatever pitch will make a music basically. So that's a quick history. It will help you to really understand when you listen to a piece. Say, this is what is being done. So the song goes here, then the song goes here. Oh, now they are going on the higher sa, etc., etc. You'll be able to figure it out if you understand these basic rules. So now, what is Bollywood music? Actually, it is not different than what we just talked. It is just tailor-made music for a tailor-made purpose. It is mainly based on Indian music, but since beginning, it is not limited to it. The base is always Indian music. Even in today, this high-tech music production, everything else has changed. The musical instruments that you hear are not the same as 50s, 60s, right? But the singer still sings a lot of Indian-based melodies. Okay, they are not Westernized. There are Westernized songs, but core part is still Indian-based. So this is mainly because of this Western influence on India, British influence, and the other Western cultures, and then technology influence on how music is made. Right? When the cinemas came, how music were made were actually determined by the technology available at that time. So, and this music in Bollywood movies can be traced back to the Marathi Natya Sangeet tradition, or the Ram Leela, or the any such musical dramas that used to happen all over the India, and also to importance of songs in our culture. We have songs for every aspect of life, right? From birth to death, we have songs. So no wonder this has seeped into the actual cinema when cinema came along, right? And that's why it is still not going away. So Bollywood music, although it formed on this base, it quickly formed its own category of a youth and modern age music. It always is attracted to the youth. And that's why you will find that people who are my age now will always say, "Hamare jaisa music nahi raha," because the music that we appreciated in our 70s or 80s time when we were young is not the same. But the music that was made at that time was still made for the youth, not for the old. So our parents always complained that time, what kind of rubbish music is this disco, right? And that's how we complain nowadays. What kind of rubbish music is this rap? So there is nothing in the wrong, and this is all tailored for young. You have to always, understand that. So history, how Bollywood music was made. In early days, when before 1935, they used to actually go to record the music at the set of the film shoot. Actually go on the film set, and they would actually sing there while the actors would act on it, and the actors would actually sing it. An extremely cumbersome process. That changed in 1935, when the playback was enabled by technology again. Gramophone records were available, and they were available commercially to be recorded separately from the shoot. So you can record a song earlier, take that recording to the film set, and enable the actor only to mime it on the song. So that happened around 1935. From 1935 to 1995, they used a recording method called take recording. What is a take recording means? All the players and singer would gather into a massive recording studio, and they would practice there and sing one shot. All of them, including the singers and player, has to 1, 2, 3 go. They will just play the whole thing at one shot. If one person makes a mistake, the whole recording was redone. That's why it used to take whole day to record a one song. That used to call take recording. Around 95, that has changed to digital recording because of the computers. Now we are able to record one person at a time. So I can call a tabla player, get him recorded, then call a singer, get him or her recorded, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is just to give you lay of the land, what we call. So why Bollywood has its own rules also. People say, yeah, Bollywood is different than the typical music and all that, Indian music. Why it is different? It is driven by two factors. First is what sells. Whatever sells, Bollywood makes it. If a new trend is brought by somebody, others will follow it. And the second rule, same, what sells. If it sells, Bollywood will make it. And that's why you see nowadays, remaking of the 90s song is a new trend, right? All the 90s song was remade in the today's thing as a nostalgia. In early 90s, I think there was a lot of rap and remix of R.D. Burman song was another trend that time. It is still there. So if it sells, if people like it, they will make it. As a simple rule for Bollywood. Constant change is the rule of the game in Bollywood music. So Bollywood music will constantly change. That's why you can see 50s music is different than 60s. 60s is way different than 70s, and so on and so forth. So every 10 years or so, you will find a complete different category or style of music Bollywood uses. And that's not going to change ever. Okay. So examples. Okay. Examples like if you look at 50s music, right? All the 50s, Shankar J. Kishan, O.P. Nayyar, Madan Mohan, all those stalwarts. They're besides Indian rhythm instruments like tabla, dholak, and all other Western instruments were used Latin instruments for rhythm, and the rest of the Western instruments for melody. Violins played a large part of the melody in 50s, 60s, 70s, right up to I think 80s also, and some part of 90s. The string section, 50 violins, 70 violins playing together was a normal thing in Bollywood music. 60s to 70s, a new age of composers came, and they changed new instruments, add more westernization. R.D. Burman came, he changed the entire ball game of music. 70s to 90s, kind of, I would say it remains still steady, the same style of music, just a different way of addressing it. But after digital recordings, after 90s, everything suddenly changed. Composition became open to all. Anybody who has a digital equipment was able to compose from home, take it to the studio, call a singer, just sing on top of it and call it a music. Now with explosion of mobile phones, iPads and all that, anybody, literally anybody can make music at home and then just send to somebody digitally to polish it and publish it. I have myself done the exact same way, published my own 5 songs by sitting on exact same computer that I'm presenting from. So just to give you example, what is possible.